Could it be? Have the MCU actually released something since Endgame that I actually liked? And not just liked, but really liked. It's not perfect, but this was actually a really good special that I was invested in from beginning to end. First off, I liked how this special used a lot of practical sets and real props. Marvel rarely do that anymore, and to see a special that had a lower budget and tried to make the most of it was really refreshing. I also liked how the wolf was a practical effect and not some CGI monstrosity. The characters are all good too. Even Jessica Jones here was good. Yeah, I know her name is Elsa Bloodstone, but let's not kid ourselves. From the changes they made to her attitude and to her hair and wardrobe, this is a slightly reworked Jessica Jones. She started out stoic and closed off, but she loosened up as the film went on, and she even got afraid, which gave her scene some tension. Her fight moves also reminded me 100% of Black Widow. The way she flips around and attacks people and even takes cover, everything about her choreography felt like an exact copy. The only thing that got me nervous was this guy. He had all the signs to be the typical cringy MCU comic relief, but thankfully he never went that far. On the whole, I think there were only 2 to 3 jokes that I thought sucked, but they weren't in-your-face cringeworthy like
beef or vegetarian. Roll out of the chicken, so I can only offer you beef or vegetarian.
So...
Oh, we're out of the vegetarian too. Now we only have beef.
beef. Because that's all you have, right?
Okay, you'll have the beef.
Yes.
And
And the beef.
Shut up! I can't stand it anymore!
The worst part of this special was the last minute. Marvel just can't help themselves. Whenever certain directors want to take the MCU to new and creative places, Marvel always have to force their MCU-isms into the project somewhere. And as a result, it had an ending that I really could have done without. It felt like this was supposed to be the special's goofy end credit scene, and they tacked it on to the ending. They really shouldn't have done that because it made the special end on a low rather than a high. If they ended it with Jessica Jones sitting on the chair, then that would have been fine. But this was just a dumb and goofy note to end on. I also thought the Somewhere Over the Rainbow song was an odd song choice to put here, and I would have changed that. Other than that, I really liked this special. I liked the deaths in here, and I especially liked how violent they were, even though I personally think some of them could have been pushed further. Because with black and white, you can really get away with a lot more, and I feel like they didn't. Aside from that, and the 2 to 3 jokes that I wasn't very fond of, and the odd bit of poorly utilized CGI, I really don't have any problems with this special. This was really good. It was definitely the best thing that the MCU has been a part of since Endgame. I would actually go as far as to say that it's better than every MCU movie and show from the first Avengers onwards, minus the films from the Russo brothers. This is the closest that the MCU has gotten to what DC and Fox do. It's nowhere near as good as those movies, as Fox and DC really know how to do these types of standalone movies well, but this is a damn good start for Marvel. I'm tired of seeing the generic MCU stuff. We've seen so many of them, and they really just need to stop at this point. Kind of like what DC is doing with movies like Joker and the Batman, I really hope that this special lives in its own world. I hope that they take the whole monster side of the MCU and keep that separate, because honestly, I don't want to see these characters make it into the MCU. I think they work very well and are incredibly effective in their own little world, and throwing them into the MCU will just make them feel generic and much less special. Kind of like what happened with Daredevil and She-Hulk. So yeah, I really enjoyed the special, and I actually want to see it again. So it gets a high 8 out of 10. This is the best thing in Marvel Phase 4 by a considerable margin. Well done, Marvel. Just next time, stay out of the director's way. If it wasn't for that tacked on ending, and if the Halloween special pushed the limits even further, which they were more than capable of doing within the same rating, then it's quite possible that this special would have gotten a high 9 out of 10 or even a 10 out of 10 from me. But as it stands, I liked it a lot, but I really saw the corner cutting. Marvel let it be violent and all, which was fun, but they only did it because it was black and white and because it was a one-off Halloween special. I in no way believe, even for a second, that this means that they are going to make their mainstream MCU movies and shows darker. They are still going to keep their usual lackluster and goofy formula, a formula that they went back to by the end of this special.
Back to formula.
So overall, I enjoyed Werewolf by Night, and it goes to show what can happen when Marvel take a more hands-off approach and move away from their usual childish antics, and I can only hope they make more projects like this.